Fanatics Fest is the real deal experience. Oh my God, Jake Paul, the kids love him. And then you have the legend Mike Tyson.
I got Jake Paul knocking him out.
Former undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Gimmick going, ready to walk into the Coliseum and face the Lion.
If you're missing out on this, I feel bad for you. Fanatics Fest is truly an experience. Oh my God, Jake Paul is such a hit with the kids. And then you have the legend Mike Tyson. Jake Paul knocking him out. The undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. Iron Mike Tyson. Gimmick ready to go as he enters the Coliseum to face the Lion. Round 1 kicks off and you can feel the tension in the air. Jake, known for his aggressive style, came out looking more cautious than usual. Who could blame him? It's Mike Tyson. Jake knew better than to go all out from the start, so he spent the first couple of minutes establishing his jab. Tyson wasn't playing games though. He was cutting off the ring like a predator on the hunt, even at 58 years old. Iron Mike still had that vintage head movement, slipping through Jake's jabs, positioning himself for a brutal counter. Tyson wasn't rushing. He was calculating, waiting for Jake to make a mistake. Jake kept his guard high, circling away from Tyson's power hand, using the whole ring to create distance, but Tyson's ring IQ was on full display. He cornered Jake a couple of times, landing some body shots that made Jake feel the heat early on. Though Jake made it through the round without getting rocked, Tyson clearly set the pace. Jake played it smart, but Tyson's presence and bodywork gave him the edge. In round 2, Jake started to find his rhythm. Realizing that he couldn't just run from Tyson, he began throwing more combinations and landed a few clean shots. You could see his confidence building. His footwork was solid too, sticking and moving, trying to make Tyson miss and capitalizing with counterpunches. Jake's cardio looked solid while Tyson, though still dangerous, was beginning to show signs of slowing down a bit. Jake landed a solid right hand that seemed to catch Tyson off guard, and the crowd went wild. It wasn't a knockout punch, but it was enough to make Tyson step back and reassess. Tyson, however, fired back with some brutal body shots that had Jake feeling the effects. Every time Jake would land a clean shot, Tyson made him pay with a rib-crunching body blow. Jake wasn't folding though. He was still in it, still fighting. He did a great job landing cleaner punches this round, and that right hand definitely earned him the edge. By round 3, the fight was heating up. Tyson began to unleash his infamous peekaboo style, slipping punches and exploding with heavy hooks. Jake struggled to keep up with Mike's timing. He was throwing punches, but Tyson was slipping them with ease and countering with nasty uppercuts. Tyson backed Jake into the corner, and this is where things got scary for Jake's fans. Tyson unloaded a barrage of punches that had Jake covering up, trying to survive. Credit to Jake though. He absorbed some massive shots and stayed on his feet. Those punches could have folded other fighters, but Jake's chin held up. Tyson was clearly dominating the round with his relentless pressure and clean power shots, which were beginning to take a toll on Jake. You could see him breathing harder, his movement slowing down just a bit. This round was Tyson's all the way. His power, aggression, and accuracy were vintage Mike Tyson. Round 4 was all about survival for Jake, but he wasn't backing down. He knew he was in deep waters, but his heart and determination showed through. Early in the round, Jake landed another clean right hand that snapped Tyson's head back. The crowd erupted, thinking maybe Jake had a chance. He controlled the center of the ring for a bit, throwing combinations and mixing in some body shots, showing that he wasn't just there to survive but to win. Tyson, though, wasn't having it. Midway through the round, he landed a brutal left hook that staggered Jake, and you could see his legs buckle for just a second. Jake clinched to avoid further damage. He was clearly feeling those shots, but his clinch game was solid enough to tie up Tyson whenever things got too heated. Tyson's power gave him the edge, but it was a close round. Now round 5 was where things got wild. Jake Paul was hanging in there, but it was clear Tyson had been waiting for this moment. Early in the round, Tyson turned up the pressure, cutting off the ring and trapping Jake against the ropes. Jake kept throwing shots, but Tyson's defense was on point. He was slipping punches left and right, waiting for the perfect opening, and then boom, it happened. Tyson slipped Jake's right hand and unleashed a devastating uppercut that landed flush on Jake's chin. Time seemed to stand still for a second as Jake collapsed to the canvas. The crowd went wild, and the ref didn't even bother counting. He waved it off immediately. Tyson, ever the sportsman, didn't celebrate wildly. Instead, he checked on Jake to make sure he was okay. It was a brutal knockout, but the respect between the fighters was clear. Tyson's power was too much. So what can we take away from this fight? First off, Jake Paul deserves some credit. Sure, he got knocked out, but he lasted 4 rounds with one of the greatest heavyweight fighters in history. That's no small feat. Jake's jab was sharp, and he definitely had moments where he shined. His cardio was impressive, and he showed a lot of heart by standing toe-to-toe with Tyson. But Tyson, he was a monster in there. Even at 58, he still had the power and technique that made him a legend. Tyson's ability to slip punches and counter with brutal force was what ultimately made the difference. It was a master class in old-school boxing. Jake tried to keep the fight on the outside with his jab and movement, but Tyson's ability to close the distance and land heavy shots was too much. Jake's chin held up well until that final uppercut, perfectly timed and perfectly executed.
Truly believed I would put him out in the first round, but man, that guy is tough.
In the post-fight press conference, Jake Paul showed his classic confidence. Even after getting knocked out, he wasn't down mentally. He already talked about a rematch. That's right, Jake was already looking ahead. He said losses are part of the game and that he's not done. A rematch with Tyson. He's all in. Jake believed that with another round, he could come back with a better strategy and outbox Tyson. You learn more from a loss than a win, Jake said, and you've got to respect that mentality. Jake made it clear he'll be pushing hard for a rematch. He's not letting this loss define him. In typical Jake Paul fashion, he's already hyping up the idea of a second fight. Whether or not it happens, one thing's for sure. Jake knows how to keep the momentum going. On the other hand, Tyson made a huge announcement. After dominating Jake Paul, Mike Tyson revealed he's officially done with boxing. That's right. He's stepping away from the ring for good. Tyson said he's shown these influencers that they've got nothing on him. After delivering one last vintage performance, he's ready to hang up the gloves for good. He's had nothing left to prove. Tyson acknowledged that while it's fun to put on a show, he's satisfied with how he went out. He's given fans a final taste of his legendary skills, and now he's moving on. The fan reactions were absolutely wild. Social media was flooded with reactions, memes, hashtags, and hot takes. Jake's knockout became an instant viral moment, with hashtags like #DeekSleepyJake and #IronMikeForever. Fans were giving Jake credit for stepping up to the plate, but Tyson fans were living for that KO. As for what's next for Jake, well, he's shown he's not just a YouTuber trying to box. He's in it for real, and this fight only proved that. Whether he targets more big names in the sport or returns to the influencer world, Jake is here to stay. The fight proved that he's willing to face the best, and that alone deserves respect. There you have it, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It lived up to the hype. Jake showed heart and skill, but in the end, Tyson's legendary power was too much. What was your reaction to the knockout? Did you see it coming, or were you just as shocked as everyone else? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to Boxing World for more updates. See you next time. Sure, here's a more detailed explanation of the fight, breaking down the key moments and analyzing both fighters' performances. #the setting asterisk. The fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson was highly anticipated, with months of hype, face-offs, and social media banter building up the excitement. It was set at the AT&T Arena in Arlington, Texas, and it was not just any fight. It was a clash between a young influencer-turned-boxer and a living legend of the sport, Mike Tyson. Round 1. Tyson sets the tone. Right from the start you could feel the pressure in the air. Jake Paul, known for his aggressive style, was more cautious than usual, likely
Mike Tyson.
When are you ready? Buck!
And we've had an accidental headbutt. I heard
Jake Paul seems pretty relaxed. Okay, because I'm like, you came running this.
I don't want any more of this. Mike Tyson.
because he knew the enormity of the challenge in front of him. Mike Tyson, even at 58 years old, still had the Predator's mentality. Tyson didn't rush. He used his veteran ring IQ, cutting off the ring and positioning himself to land counter punches. Jake started the round by trying to establish his jab and keep Tyson at a distance. Tyson showed his head movement, slipping through Jake's jabs with ease, and landing a few shots to the body. Tyson's pressure was relentless, and even though Jake made it through the round without getting hurt badly, Tyson set the pace early, showing that his experience and ring savvy were unmatched. Round 2. Jake shows some confidence. In round 2, Jake started to come into his own. He realized that he couldn't just run from Tyson and that he needed to engage to have a chance. So he began throwing more combinations, landing some clean shots, and showing his sharp jab. His footwork looked good as he moved and tried to make Tyson miss before landing a counterpunch. Jake even landed a solid right hand that seemed to catch Tyson off guard, briefly making the crowd believe Jake might have a shot at winning. However, Tyson didn't let up. He continued with his body shots and was constantly punishing Jake whenever he landed clean punches. Jake showed some grit, and his cardio looked good, but Tyson's ability to close the distance and land power punches was a clear advantage in this round. Round 3. Tyson takes control. As the fight progressed into round 3, Tyson's experience began to shine even more. Tyson unleashed his legendary peekaboo style, slipping Jake's punches and landing nasty hooks and uppercuts. Jake did his best to avoid getting trapped in a corner, but Tyson's relentless pressure kept him on the defensive. Tyson caught Jake with a brutal left hook to the body, and it was clear Jake felt the power. Even though Jake didn't go down, he started to show signs of fatigue. Tyson's ability to slip punches and counter with precision was a big factor in the third round. By the end of the round, Jake was clearly struggling to keep up with Tyson's pace. Round 4. Jake fights back. In round 4, Jake was in survival mode. He knew that Tyson's power was real, and every round seemed to wear him down a bit more. But Jake showed a lot of heart. He landed another solid right hand that snapped Tyson's head back, momentarily shifting the momentum. For a while, Jake controlled the center of the ring, mixing jabs and body shots to keep Tyson at bay. However, Tyson quickly made it clear that he was still in control. Midway through the round, he landed a brutal left hook that staggered Jake, and Jake had to clinch to survive. Tyson's power shots were clearly taking a toll on Jake, but Jake continued to hang in there, showing that he wasn't ready to back down. Round 5. Tyson pushes forward. Round 5 is where the fight really started to escalate. Jake, though still hanging in there, was clearly exhausted. Tyson, sensing blood in the water, turned up the heat. He cut off the ring, trapping Jake against the ropes, and started unloading a vicious combination of punches. Jake was able to cover up and absorb some of the shots, but he couldn't avoid everything. A powerful hook to the body sent Jake reeling, and Tyson followed up with a quick right hand to the temple. Jake was clearly hurt, and his defense became more reactive, trying to survive rather than win. The round ended with Jake barely making it to the bell, but it was clear Tyson was just too much for him at this point. Round 6. The knockout. In round 6, Tyson was laser-focused. He knew Jake was fatigued and that it was just a matter of time before his power would end it. Jake, still trying to fight back, threw a few wild punches, but Tyson slipped them effortlessly. About a minute into the round, Tyson saw his opportunity. Jake let his guard drop just slightly, and Tyson unleashed a devastating right hook that landed flush on Jake's chin. The force of the punch was so powerful that Jake collapsed to the canvas, and the crowd went wild. Jake tried to get up, but his legs failed him, and the ref started the count. Despite a brave effort, Jake couldn't make it to his feet in time, and the fight was called off. Tyson had knocked Jake out cold. #Aftermath. Respect and retirement. Mike Tyson, despite delivering one of the most brutal knockouts in recent memory, showed great sportsmanship. He checked on Jake to make sure he was okay and didn't celebrate the victory with excessive emotion. Tyson had made his point. He was still a dominant force in the ring, even at 58. After the fight, Tyson announced that he was officially retiring from boxing, stating that he had nothing left to prove. He had shown the world that no influencer or younger boxer could match his skills and power. Jake, on the other hand, showed a lot of mental strength in the aftermath. He admitted the loss but was already thinking about a rematch. Jake's mentality was that losses are a part of the game, and he wasn't going to let this one loss define him. He even believed that he could beat Tyson in a second fight, armed with more experience and a better strategy. Jake's willingness to fight the best and learn from his losses showed that he was serious about his boxing career. Fan reactions and social media. The reactions to the knockout were all over social media. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were flooded with memes, comments, and debates. Tyson's fans were thrilled with the KO, and Jake's fans still gave him credit for stepping up to fight Tyson. Jake's knockout became a viral moment, with hashtags like #DeekSleepyJake trending. Everyone was talking about it, and the fight instantly went down in boxing history as one of the most exciting and talked about showdowns in recent years. What's next for Jake Paul? As for Jake Paul, this loss doesn't define him as a boxer. He proved that he's no joke in the ring, showing resilience and skill even in the face of Tyson's overwhelming power. Jake could use this experience to grow as a fighter, learning from his mistakes and building on his strengths. He may target other big names in boxing or return to his influencer career. Regardless, Jake has shown that he's willing to face the best, and his journey as a boxer is far from over. Conclusion *. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson was a fight full of drama, intensity, and respect. Tyson proved that he is still one of the most dangerous fighters in the world, even at an advanced
And they've stopped it! Round one, knockout, Jake Paul, El Gallo de Dorado!
Another first round stoppage for the problem child. He told us round two, but he delivered it one round earlier. Outstanding performance from Jake Paul.
Man, Jake set that up with some good offense, jabbing up top, jabbing to the body. That was a perfect setup, man. He had good...
even at an advanced age. Jake, despite the loss, showed great heart, skill, and mental toughness, earning respect from fans and critics alike. The fight was a spectacle that lived up to the hype and reminded everyone why Mike Tyson is a legend in the sport of boxing. #The setup *. This was a fight that had fans buzzing for months. Jake Paul, a YouTube star turned boxer, had built a reputation for himself through his fights with other influencers and former fighters. However, this was his toughest challenge yet, stepping into the ring with
And on the planet, KO punchers of all times, the two-time heavyweight world champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
However, this was his toughest challenge yet, stepping into the ring with one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, Mike Tyson. Tyson, known for his fierce power and aggressive style in his prime, was now 58 years old but still a living legend in the sport of boxing.
The anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson has a new date. They'll face off in AT&T Stadium on November 15th.
In the sport of boxing. The contrast between the two fighters, Jake's youthful energy and Tyson's timeless, brutal experience, made for an intriguing matchup. The Atentio
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Yo,
Arena in Arlington, Texas, was packed to the brim with fans eager to see this historic fight unfold. The hype had reached a fever pitch, especially with the online build-up, face-offs, and social media exchanges between the two. It was billed as an underdog story for Jake Paul and a potential swan song for Tyson, though no one truly knew how the fight would play out. #### round by round breakdown asterisk. ####round 1. Setting the pace. The first round kicked off with a sense of tension in the air. Jake Paul, who is known for his brash and aggressive style, was more cautious than expected. He clearly knew he couldn't come in guns blazing against Mike Tyson. Instead, he focused on his jab and tried to establish some distance early on. Jake's strategy seemed to be to outbox Tyson from the outside, using his height and reach advantage.
To play and handle the Mike Tyson thing correctly, because the visuals were bad. And when you're dealing in a world of optics, it's very relevant. And Tyson versus Paul would likely be on July 20th. It would likely be on had they not put out the fake press release in the first place. When they put out this watered down, dumb press release.
Using his height and reach advantage. On the flip side, Tyson was calm and methodical. Even though he was the older fighter, his experience and ring IQ were on full display. He didn't rush in but slowly closed the distance, looking for opportunities to land those powerful counters. Tyson's head movement was classic. He bobbed and weaved, slipping Jake's jabs with ease while positioning himself to deliver those crushing counterpunches. Tyson also showcased his ability,
and he definitely has some power.
To cut off the ring, cornering Jake a few times and landing some body shots. Jake, despite his cautious approach, managed to make it through the round without getting hurt badly. However, Tyson's presence and the clean shots he landed gave him the clear edge in this round. #### round 2.
Days, baby. 10 days.
###round 2. Jake finds his rhythm. In the second round, Jake Paul began to find his rhythm. He seemed to realize that he couldn't simply avoid Tyson. He needed to fight back. So he started to throw more combinations, trying to push Tyson back. This was Jake's chance to build confidence and prove that he wasn't just a YouTuber turned boxer. He was here to compete with the best.
And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing 83.6 pounds.
He was here to compete with the best. Jake started using his jab effectively and landed a solid right hand that made Tyson step back for a moment, which visibly shifted the momentum in Jake's favor. But Tyson wasn't going to make it easy. The veteran fighter showed his own resilience by coming back with vicious body shots. Every time Jake landed a clean shot, Tyson responded with brutal hooks to the body. These body punches began to show their toll, and even though Jake's cardio seemed solid, it was clear that Tyson's power was wearing him down. Despite Tyson's constant pressure, Jake landed more clean punches in this round, and that right hand in particular helped him earn some respect. Jake wasn't outclassed, he was hanging in there. #### round 3. Tyson begins to dominate. By round 3, the fight was shifting in Tyson's favor. Jake, despite his earlier success, was starting to tire, and Tyson began to use his signature peekaboo defense, slipping Jake's punches and countering with power. Tyson has always been known for his head movement and ability to explode with punches from awkward angles. And this round was a textbook example of that. Jake tried to outpace Tyson by throwing more punches, but Tyson's defensive skills and timing were simply too sharp. One of the key moments in this round was when Tyson caught Jake with a left